I think the saying of like, you don't want to have a boat, you want a friend with a boat, is if you're not working on the boat, because what's the point? Yeah. You want to have a friend with a boat who does their own work, and you just bring beers along. Welcome back to Stay Tuned. I'm Tony Angelo. This is my YouTube channel. If you notice something looks a little bit different about me, it's true. I did get a haircut recently, so that might be it. Just kidding. Our 100,000 subscriber plaque just arrived. We're super stoked. The growth has been insane. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and watching our stuff. We're having a blast making all of this content, and we're only going onward and upward from here. Well, kind of, because today we're working on a boat. I'm on a boat! And I don't know much about them at all, but here's the deal. This thing doesn't run. This is my older sister's boat. I'm sorry, did I need to say older? I'm sorry, let's go back. Editors, no, cut that. Cut that. Yeah, this is my sister's boat. She is the best. She helps me out with a ton of my business stuff. Sponsor emails, phone calls, Zoom meetings, keeping schedules straight, all that sort of stuff, while she also has a PhD and works in DC. But for fun, she helps us out. And she's gonna be working in the office today, doing a couple things. We're gonna be out here on her boat. She's got a Bayliner 185, it's a 2005. It's a 4-cylinder boat that it won't start. There's a bunch of teeth knocked off the flywheel. I don't really know a damn thing about boats, but we're gonna get in here, hopefully get this thing figured out. I think it's mostly car parts. See if we can't fix it up and then take it out in the water. You can come in here. This is Lauren, she's the best. Yeah. You don't know anything about boats either, right?
Very, very little.
Very little, which is what you want to be as a boat owner. Just kidding. We'll figure it out. We'll learn together. We'll sort it out. So you had it about a year, 2?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. And you live in Maryland, so you usually use it in like the bay.
Exactly.
Right. So
Choppy
that's
Bay.
the Choppy Bay. It's a smallish boat. It's a pretty good first boat. 150 horsepower, 19 feet long, something. But we're gonna dig in. It's got a little bit of crud and stuff, but generally it's pretty clean. And we will just learn together. It'll be fun. I'm excited, mostly for the driving of the boat. And you know what they say, the best, you don't wanna own a boat, you wanna know somebody that owns a boat.
Yeah,
so
you told me.
that's me, and that's you. All right, let's get going. All right, so the reason the boat is here is that it looks pretty decent, and it doesn't have a ton of miles or hours on it, whatever it is. But they had it out in the water, and it had died, or they turned it off, and it wouldn't start. They're cranking it, sending me video, and it just won't do anything. The starter is not engaging the ring gear. The ring gear is, they took it in and had it estimated and checked out. The teeth on the ring gear are like 40% gone. It blew a bunch of teeth off the thing somehow after a starter replacement, probably misalignment, as that can happen. So give it a crank, Lar. So as you can see, hit it again. It ain't got no gas in it. The starter is not spinning the motor over. So that's what we're here today to do. We have to tear this engine out, take the ring gear off the flywheel, put a new one on, or replace the flywheel. We're kind of up in the air about that. Get everything back in so that the starter will spin the motor over, get it fired up. Then we can actually give it a once over, make sure everything's running right, and we'll take it out in the water and have some fun, hopefully, if we have time.
Maybe Bed Bath & Beyond, I don't know. I don't know if we'll have enough time.
It's a Mercruiser 3.0, which I think is essentially an old Chevy 4-cylinder. It's based on like an Iron Duke, I believe. If that's wrong, yell at me in the comments. But this is a 3-liter, 150 horsepower, all iron 4-cylinder from the Stone Ages, more or less, that has, things modified and sealed to be used for marine use. Carburetor's a little different, I think. This is the exhaust, comes out with this like water-cooled exhaust scenario. And obviously there's different controls for the throttle and whatever it's called, the drive unit. But yeah, we're gonna get in here and start cracking. I know number one, we work out there, we get the drive unit off, but I think we'll have to get a little more access to this whole hatch first. All right, so I don't really know a damn thing about boats, except that there's an engine either on the back or in the middle of these things. And eventually something spins and it moves down the water. I actually went on here, there's a kid, Zach's Garage on YouTube. This is how you learn stuff. So I'm gonna like learn stuff from YouTube, tell it to you, put it on YouTube, and then you can learn it, squared. But that's the idea. So number one, the outdrive is coming off first. It's a few bolts and a little bit of moving around, but this kid does a killer job. We're gonna get cracking. So we gotta take this outdrive off, and the way that works is, Michael, so trim it up. I'm gonna just disconnect the speedometer cable and make sure that we're in the right position. So the trim is the button on the shifter guy. I don't know what the hell that's called. Throttle cable? Throttle handle? I'm gonna get every boat term wrong. I would like you to just tell me what they are in the comments, please. Keep going. Yeah, you're doing it. Go ahead. You go. Mike Finnegan would be ashamed of me right now. Although, like, I don't know anything about boats. All right, so now that thing is still forward, right? Yep. All right, so I'm gonna get under there, disconnect the speedometer connector, and then we'll be rocking.
That's all the way forward.
Okay, leave that alone there. The idea is that's gonna slide out of here when this piece comes off. This giant drive unit. All right, and it looks like the speedo cable is off.
There was a...
All right, so come on down with it.
Down?
Yeah, bring this thing down, the spinny kicker, the water kicker, spinny pusher, the old water pushing machine. Yeah, let me just read what's next here. Totally.
You're talking about the throttle lever, or you're talking about the button?
I want the whole, make it.
He wants the propeller to come low with the ground.
Yeah, bring it, push the button. Keep going. Keep going. Go! Up a little more. Too hard. Too hard. Too hard. Up more. Up more. Attaboy, that's good. That's good. All right, so you take these things off. Screwdriver, and then drive the pin through, and then we get the bolts out.
There might be a clip on that side.
There's 2 clips, exactly. A couple of clips, a couple of little flat bushings. So these hydraulic arms, rams, raise and lower the angle of the spinny water pusher so that you can do boat stuff. So you can go doing boats. We'll sit there. Clear me out. All right, so I'm going to take these 6 off here. These are holding this drive unit on. I loosen them all by hand, but they're a little crunchy. I'm actually going to stick this rod back in because there's a trick how to break this thing free that I saw, and I definitely... Can I go up there and give me a little action on this thing?
Which way?
I don't know why why one is so much longer than the other one. The other way? Other way? Go ahead. More. Stop. Go back. Okay, stop there. There it is. Okay, good. Hold on. So now we've got that thing back in. These bolts are all loose. And now you take a piece of 2x4 and you stick it between these two, and it like pops it off for you. Because apparently it's tough to get this thing off. Although, hold on, it's already broke loose. Yeah. All right. Let's call it there.
You need a hand sliding that out?
I would think it looks pretty heavy. Yeah, I think we're good. So if your outdrive is stuck, you can use that cute trick. We didn't really need to. Looks like we were able to preserve that gasket, which is great. Yeah. Let's, man, this thing stinks.
Lines look all right.
Beautiful.
Big O-ring.
Yeah.
See that? Here. Make it
Came off that housing for the drive shaft or prop shaft, whatever we're looking at. All right, we got the outdrive unit out. Now we're gonna take off this middle seat, this rear seat, get us a little more access to the motor. And then we just take off a bunch of accessories. You know, it's like exhaust, fuel lines, controls, whatever runs the coolant thing here, a few other things, and we'll try to pop it out. The mounts, etc. And we'll start looking at this flywheel. Thank you. Yeah, it's a little sticky. Okay. Grab this. Everything is wet, dog.
I know. Got some nice access there.
Yeah, that's way better.
Yeah.
Get this top cover off and we'll be in business. Come on back, I got more Denver. These are gross. That outdrive smelled like a mermaid's. Yo, popping in here to say that we have Stay Tuned merchandise just dropped. Got my Angelo's Garage Gym shirt, the new Stay Tuned Lightning Bolt shirt. This stuff is available at my Shopify. The link is right here. Boom, go and get it. If you like this content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, back to the show. So yeah, we've got the seats off, and now we're digging into this motor. It does look very fresh, especially for a boat engine. I know it's like some control cables. This is the throttle cable. This is like a transmission cable. This whole plate comes off. Then we'll do wiring, fuel, some kind of coolant line, mounts, a couple other things, and we'll get ready to pull this off. This is drive lube. Looks like Aqua Velva. I don't know. I guess this probably circulates in that unit we pulled out earlier in the drive unit. This is a block drain, exhaust manifold drain, and block drain. I know I could swing this out the way. I'm gonna put this over here. That didn't really do anything. I don't know what this means.
I bet it drains the block in the winter. There's probably some.
Temperature can something, blue drain exceed 100 and something. But it just looks like this little rider on here. I don't really know what that means. Oh. All right, the block's draining. Why don't you get a bucket somewhere? It smells disgusting. It smells like a sea bass was drinking all night and then he threw up in my mouth.
It's not gonna fit.
That is disgusting. This is disgusting. Now I know why fishermen drink
like
so
not
much.
crabs
This is,
and, like,
oh my God, it's all
Dang,
gross.
tasty things.
No,
Yeah.
this is awful. All right, it's back on there. I'm throwing out all these clothes. Oh my God, it smells terrible. It really is offensive. So this comes off with these 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. Wow.
Looks like a
Smells bad.
7/16 or a ½ inch.
I buy that. 7/16 maybe? Gosh. All right, I'm towing off the exhaust outlet, whatever it is.
I wish I was taller.
I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good, I would call her.
Same, dog. I wish you were taller.
Thanks, man.
Just for you.
7/16. Oh my God. 7/16.
The smell is brutal.
It got bad, like it's right in the mouth.
There's a puddle of this rancid water underneath. All right.
Just remember the tie off here.
It's true. My sister helps us out for nothing because she's the best. So we're gonna pay her back with a little bit of
You get the 3/8 there.
help here.
Plate stays on there, right?
It's just swinging. No, that's coming off here with some wrenches. So put these back in the holes,
All right. This
like
is-
in the plate.
I can't. Oh, that.
The
yeah,
smell? Yeah.
I can't. Yeah.
Smells like somebody left a horseshoe crab in the desert for 2 weeks. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Somebody's been in here.
It smells like somebody's freezer broke and then they forgot about it for a month. I mean, it's disgusting. This is boat life stuff. We don't know about it. All right, taking off the throttle cable. Just swinging it out of the way. And I'll do fuel feed into the carburetor. Over here, which looks like it used to be a nut and is now very round. Hey, you guys ever heard of wing nuts or what?
Got the extension.
I'm doing this stupid thing now.
You need extension.
No. Just trying to get this little 1,000-mile guy or 1,000,000-mile filter out of here. That looks very clean. I like that. That's a good start. There she goes. A little bit extra love on that one.
But doesn't want to stay. We have zip ties over there. We tie it up.
I think we're good. All right, so now I believe that's 4 3/4. She's gonna break free. And I think they just kind of sit like from top to bottom. So let's bring in the crane. All right, so now I think it's just the mounts. We're gonna try to lift this whole thing out. One of the reasons I didn't want to go do this at my sister's place in Maryland is that we have here, because my shop is an old machine shop, 40, a huge gantry crane. It's gonna let us pick this thing up and do whatever we want with it, instead of like, you know, a regular engine hoist, which is really tough. I can't imagine how a regular engine hoist is gonna clear this whole thing and get you out of there. So bring in the crane. We're going. Keep going. That's good, that's good. All right, sweet. We're about ready to get strapped up. Just don't hit the Firebird. Okay.
What a dream.
Let's see. This looks like we'll pull the bolts out. Get them out of the way. I think they just go straight down. Sitting where I need to sit.
You want this out?
Yeah, if it comes out, it'll come out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I just broke this thing free of the mounts. I'm gonna lift it up just a little bit, swing it around, see if anything still looks to be hanging on. And it's really dark in here. So I'm gonna get in here. Now it's got it up a few inches. Just give it a look at it. Easy, girl. She's good there. It's locked. You just look around and see if it's clear. Oh, this is dead.
Oh, okay, or light right there.
Okay.
The nice thing about that battery is it's rechargeable by a USB.
Yeah, I figured it would. Okay. I don't know what this is, but it's hanging on. It's attached to the motor. That's okay. There's a little rubber isolator on the front. I think we're in business.
Look pretty clear on this side. Trying to get a better view.
It's all tight on a couple things.
Once you clear this hose, we can come forward.
Yeah, well, we're getting close. We almost there? Is it forward? Yeah. Okay. All right. Can we spin it? There you go. There it is. This little snout is significant, so it's got to spin kind of and come in. Or like, we could have probably taken this off. Look at it. Why is this so loose?
It looks like a bushing.
It is, but this is threaded here, and this is not tight. I'm gonna take this thing off, but also, let's remember to tighten it up when we get done. I don't think engine mount should be finger tight. I don't really know maritime law, so it could be. I'm not a sea expert.
Rule number 1, make sure your engine mounts are loose enough.
Actually, this would probably work better just to have this thing slide down. I think I'm seeing what they're going for.
Oh, you just like have that thing.
Have that be like a big locating pin.
Yeah.
Nice big piece of aluminum there. Okay. Oh. All right, there she is. We'll clear it up a little bit more, and then push it out the way, and then we can bring it all the way back down, and we'll get back out on what they call solid ground. You know what I'm saying? Land ho over there where I'm gonna be working on this thing instead of up in this boat, but pretty smooth so far. All right, so I'll pull it to me a little bit, and you just start wheeling out. Go ahead. Keep going. Actually, that's probably good. We'll leave it there. We'll bring it down and get the flywheel off right there. All right, we've got the engine out. I'm just giving it a quick once over. There's a couple things I don't like. Number one, the oil looks like it's got some water in it, which is not a good sign ever. It's going to mean some cross-contamination, either through the head gasket or a cracked head or something. You can see it there, see how brown it is. Now, it's not going to run coolant, so it's not going to look quite as intense on a boat, but that to me looks like water in the oil. I have pulled the starter off. I don't see any broken teeth on this ring gear. That's the reason we're here to start. So that's not a good sign either. The motor does spin. I pulled the plugs out.
That's what she said.
See the water just blasted out of that cylinder. It's shouldn't be in there. Yeah. It's this guy. That's the one that looks murky and has some water on the tip. So that's not a good sign, for sure. I'm thinking potentially head gasket at a minimum, but we'll have to figure it out. I don't know if maybe because, I don't know, 100%. Essentially, this isn't a cross-flow head. You've got intake and exhaust. Everything is right here. This has got water flowing through it. This is a carb, so it's doing three things. Water is coming out of the motor, flowing through this water-cooled exhaust manifold, coming out with the exhaust and out of the back of the boat. But it's also the intake manifold where essentially the carburetor and charged air, which means it has fuel mixed in it, is going into the ports. So this is all one piece. Everything's happening in here. So if this thing was cracked, then you could have water flowing into your intake ports, right? For sure. So we're going to try to figure this thing out. I think I'm going to do a leak down test on it, which is a sort of a test of how well your cylinder is sealing. And it will tell you if you have like a bent valve or a bad head gasket. Once you see which ones are leaking and how bad they're sealing, you can kind of see where the air is going. You can hear it in the exhaust, or you can see if it's going back into the intake. That would be a bent valve. Into the exhaust would be more of a bad head gasket, or even out of the coolant passages. Now again, this stuff's all blended together, so I'm assuming on a boat it's a little bit harder. I don't have a ton of boat experience, but that's what makes sense to me. Here's what I do know. A whole like big spurt of water coming out of your spark plug hole is just, that's never good. So let's get cracking. Here we're taking this off. It's got some kind of rubber bolt scenario I'm not used to. We'll figure that out later. Put that down. All right. So this is this output little piece. So it's just got a regular flywheel. Ring gear is definitely hammered, so we're gonna leak this thing down, but for now I'm just pulling this off. Yeah, that's just a flange and a regular flywheel. It's like a manual this looks like a regular, I guess it's got some paint on it, but this more or less looks like what you'd run on a clutch car, right? Just about. Just that no clutch has ever seen it. You just bolt a thing to it. A lot of this stuff is just Chevy parts. Yep. Sure looks just like a Chevy. All right, well, we're somewhere. A little closer. Okay, so I've been running this thing through different leak down tests with kind of crappy, you know, off-brand gauges that I don't really buy. I don't really believe. They're just budget guys. I'm not buying it. I just don't. I want to get in here and I want to see what I'm looking at. You can see that's just a bunch of watery oil. What is that?
This reminds me of like someone spraying sea foam into their motor.
Yeah, it's something weird, right? Is that what I'm looking like? Did someone do something stupid here? You don't. No, this is just like foamy garbage. Look at it.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it. That's not right. All right, so like I said, the leak down numbers look pretty good. but I just don't buy it. I'm thinking something's cracked. This intake exhaust manifold riser thing with the coolant running through it, somehow we're getting water into the cylinders and we're getting water into the oil, which means it could be like block cracked, cylinder head cracked. Nothing good. Nothing good here. I found a Marine 350 V8 for pretty cheap, not far away, that I'm pretty familiar with. I feel like maybe we'll stick that in there when they're not looking, because I'm tired of this thing already. You can do all this work to make 150 horsepower. Anyway, all right, we're gonna dig in and see what's what. So we have the valve cover off. You can see this is some kind of awful garbage,
Not safe for work.
water, cheese, foam. It's just a tough, we're trying to figure out why this thing gets water in the oil and water in the cylinders. And it's not exactly clear. This demon system that has intake, exhaust, and coolant all running commingled in one piece is pretty frustrating. The only thing we do know is that oil is not getting into the cylinders through this thing because there's no oil over here. So that's still pointing towards, this is pointing me to, say, bad head gasket, cracked cylinder head, at least. This thing could be cracked and that stuff could be commingling too, but right now I'm just looking at, we think we'll do another leak down, try to get it all dialed in, see if we can find where it's coming from, but I would say this thing probably has at least a bad head gasket and probably something cracked. All right, let's keep going. Boats are cool. I think the saying of like, you don't want to have a boat, you want a friend with a boat, is if you're not working on the boat, because what's the point? Yeah. You want to have a friend with a boat who does their own work, and you just bring beers along. All right, back to it. All right, so clearly there's a ton of water in the oil. We're not getting anything crazy back from a leak down test. So I'm gonna pull off this So the head's off. I have filled each exhaust port up with a little bit of mineral spirits. And we're just going to check and see if it's leaking down in any of the ports. And we can see that that one's definitely leaking. That one looks pretty tight. And this one is pretty gross. We're going to wipe this off just to keep checking on it. So when the hot water, as we believe, is coming into this cracked manifold and getting into the ports, you can see, I'm even watching it. Look how it's running down there. See how it's getting quicker? All right, so it's coming right past these two, probably bent exhaust valves. When you throw cold water at a hot valve, It's going to warp it. It's going to bend it. It's going to make it sad. So we definitely have issues there. Not a good look. All right. All right, it's time to face the music now. That boat is not going to be running this week. I had to send it off to my boy Larry at Roberts Engine Development. He took it apart and just said this was bad and that was worse. Everything was a mess. He had to polish the crankshaft because the bearings were about to turn. He said that piston rings were annealed to pistons on 1 and 4 from all the water getting in. He had to chip those out, hone the block, new piston rings, deck the block surface because it was quote unquote like a potato chip. Then he went through the head, made sure none of the valves were bent, did a valve job on the thing, put on some modern valve seals. He's going to get that buttoned up. We'll get it back in here, thrash that thing back together, and hit the water as soon as we can. That is it for this episode of Stay Tuned. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please like, subscribe, leave some comments, buy a t-shirt. We love you. Thanks for all the support. If you look behind me, this is the 1970 Cutlass that I got in trade for my S10. It hasn't run in a million years. It's someone's unfinished project, and we're going to spend the next couple of days just trying to get this thing going down the road. Fired up, driving, moving under its own power for the first time in God knows when. So that's it. Peace.